I'm going to start off with the intro, and then I'm going to have you introduce yourself. You ready?
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks.
Welcome to Origins. Today, we're fired up to introduce a true powerhouse in the world of entrepreneurship. Our special guest has turned dreams into reality, carving out a path filled with grit and innovation. Get ready to be inspired as we dive into the journey, uncovering the secrets of success and the drive that keeps them pushing forward. Let's welcome our special guest. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Michael, owner and founder of Ruinous Guitars. Here to maybe share a few secrets and hear what you guys have as far as questions.
Shout out to you. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, I'm a musician. I'm a designer. I've always been into the arts, and this kind of turned into kind of the like amalgam of all three of those things. So being able to combine my passion for making things by hand, being able to create something that maybe has never been seen before, and then really just getting to add to the music world was huge. I've owned plenty of guitars and I've worked on a bunch of old guitars, and I just never really found them to be as much as they could be. They were made for the most part cheap overseas, and yeah, they had a nice custom paint job, but that's probably the coolest thing about them. So I wanted to change
Mm-hmm.
things up a bit. What about you? Tell me a little about
Okay.
yourself. I'm curious to hear how you started this.
Um, I mean, honestly, I take my ideas and I realize what's missing or could be desired within the world that we live in. So, for example, I noticed that there's not too many platforms where people can just promote and connect with each other.
Definitely true.
So I
Yeah,
took the opportunity. So I took the opportunity to create a platform, a hub for people to gather that has talents from, different backgrounds,
hell yeah,
to connect basically on some like link tree, linking type time, I would say.
definitely. Yeah. Sure.
Um, and a little bit about me, I'm an idealist. I come up with, ideas and I just slowly put them out there and see, what people are gonna grab.
Very cool. Very cool.
So shout out to you. And I figured you did you make music. I didn't see I don't think I saw any link towards it, but you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm not somebody that's recorded professionally. My buddies and I, we just grew up playing together since we were probably like 12. And now they've all got day jobs, and so we don't play as much as we probably should, which is why now that I've finally started Ruinous, I'm not necessarily posting videos of us playing together, but I've been a bass player for maybe like 16 years, 17 years, yeah, somewhere in that range. So that's definitely my forte. I was self-taught, but it's fun. I've played a lot of
Mm,
different styles of music, and at the end of the day, I was like, I'd rather focus my energy on building instead of maybe trying to add to recorded music or something that people would actually see. I think, it's a lot of fun for me to play, but I can't take it as seriously as maybe I could building. So this was me being able to shift some of that passion for music into something I think I could contribute to the actual music industry rather than me just maybe recording music that no one would hear.
that's understandable. And I'm curious. I noticed on your website, you have three. I would say like three products that people could buy. It's a bass, uh, a lead guitar, and I forgot the third one. Was that rhythm bass or?
Yeah, it's like two different styles of bass. The idea
Mm-hmm.
was we've got one that's maybe a little more slim, like the body is really narrow, and so it's maybe more ideal for standing. It's lighter, it's a little more agile. And then I built one that is predominantly designed for people that like to play seated. So it's got a bit of a taller body to it, so it sits more ergonomically on your lap, and it's kind of in like a more natural play position. Whereas the standing bass, or no, I shouldn't say standing bass, but the one that's maybe a little lighter is designed maybe as like an easier thing to travel with, or it's a little lighter just to carry it. But I have an electric guitar on there too, and then I'm just wrapping up the photo shoot for. I just made a headstock for both bases because the bases I
Mm.
designed are headless right now, so they're a little more compact. But I just did a retrofit so people can buy like a standard style bass if they prefer regular tuning machines. And then I also just finished a design for a tremolo system, which is like a whammy bar, if you're familiar with that type of machinery. But those are going to hit the
Mm.
website probably in the next month. Like I wrapped up shooting them with my camera today, so I'm excited about it.
Okay.
Uh,
Congratulations on that.
thank you,
And I
thank you.
was curious as well. Uh, you know, what was going to be, your next line of instruments that you was gonna, offer in your lineup.
Yeah, yeah. The idea right now, I've just been slowly adding to it based on what I'm hearing the most curiosity from customers about. I've had a lot of people ask about 7 string, 8 string. I've even had a few people like, can I have a 9 string or 5 string basses? So it seems like that's where most people have some of their greater needs is like the maybe the multi-scale type design or the extra strings on a bass or a guitar. So I'm just rather than like launching them all at once, I'm kind of chipping away at it based on what I hear the most curiosity about. And the prototyping takes so long for all of these. Like for each instrument, I probably make between like 3 to 8 prototypes just before I feel like I've got it right. So the process of making one that's ready to actually launch takes usually about a year. So it's a gradual process. And then in that prototyping phase, I'm reaching out to artists, I'm having them test it and really just hearing feedback on like where was it the most comfortable, what features did they want to see more of? Where was the pinch point that maybe they didn't appreciate? Like if you probably noticed a lot of the instruments I've made are pretty experimental. Like they're very angular, they're very out there, and so I've really tried to focus on having it look extremely aggressive, but having it feel very comfortable, very ergonomic, like it kind of wraps around your body naturally. And so that takes a while for me to kind of find that balance between looking really sharp but feeling very comfy. Um, yeah, long-winded answer,
Mm.
but hopefully that gives you a
No,
little.
that's fine.
Yeah,
No, that's fine. That's what the podcast is for, is to dive deep into that.
very true.
Okay, okay. And hearing about the process, what exactly consists of the process for creating one of your products?
Um, I counted it up. There's somewhere like 200 major steps in the process. And that's really just with like the building alone. And what I've started to do is add just little videos onto my Instagram and TikTok just of a few of those features. But um, there's so much to it. When I started doing this, I knew that it was going to be a really deep rabbit hole. And after the past, maybe like, I think it's been about 7 years of me doing this consistently, but now I feel like I'm really starting to see how much detail goes into every step. Um, but there's quite a few steps in the process. But if you're curious about any specific one, I could probably talk your ear off about about it.
So I was just curious, like, what is uh the step process to like creating this guitar, you know, with the design and everything, and having it ready to be bought on your website.
From the design side, I'm doing like rough prototyping in either like cheap wood or cardboard, and I'm cutting it out just really loose to get the feel for the new shape. And then I go into what's called CAD or computer aided design, which is just like digital design on the computer. So rather than like your traditional luthier. A luthier is just a name for a guitar maker, but your traditional luthier is going to sit there and like it's all going to be old woodworking, like a saw, a chisel, a plane. But what I'm using instead is I'm using these large CNC machines, which I'll be posting more videos of, but they're essentially like giant robots that can cut metal, they can cut wood, and I use those to make all of my forms, all of the like custom metal brackets, all of the custom wood components like the neck, the body, all of those like kind of angular hooks that you see on the body. And then once those have been roughed out, that's when I get into all the fine finishing. Like I'll file them down until they're somewhat smooth. Then I'll electric sand them until they're really smooth. And then I'll use like hand sanding to give them like the really polished finish. And then we get into like priming, painting, clear coating, buffing. So that's all the finishing on that end. The metal gets patinaed, which is like an aged finish, or it gets buffed until it's really polished. And then, there's the electronics that have to get wired up. That's a lot of fun. There's what's the other big one? The fretwork, like the fretboard itself, that takes so much time. I would say that's maybe a third of the process, if you could believe it, is just like
Mm.
getting those frets, because they're like these tiny little thin pieces of metal, and so getting them to look really clean but also having them like perfectly leveled, perfectly polished. And there's on all my instruments there's like 25 of them, so there's just like a lot of little details, but I love the little details. It's kind of why I got into this.
Okay. And I'm curious when it comes to, because it seems like you go through a couple prototypes before you go with a finished design, correct?
Yeah,
So I'm curious, what happens to your prototypes? Do they get reused later or
that's a great
do they get
question,
forever?
actually. That's like right on the spot for what I spent this week doing. Um, so this week I think it was something like 14 or 16 old prototypes that, I wouldn't ever call them something I would sell because they're just so rough when I make them. I don't like to focus on all the details until it's a finished object. So usually I'm a little more harsh with how I build them. But I took all of these I would call them unusable prototypes, and I stripped them down of all their parts. And I took all the metal parts and I put them like I welded them together into like a giant R. The R is like my logo for the business. And
Mm.
then I took all the wood components and I'm going to build like this large sculptural collage out of them and mount that R to it. So I'm planning on putting together like this, essentially just like a big ruinous decorative piece for the house, or maybe the studio. But yeah, that was this week. And so either you've got cameras where I don't know and you've been watching me, or you're reading my mind. But yeah, I'll definitely I'll share a video of that soon, and then when that's finished, I'll be sure to tag you in it so that you know.
Okay. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I definitely seen a couple cool designs that you have. Like even I was looking through all your website. And I was even looking at the one thing I was the my biggest curiosity was I was like I wonder do you have option for like colors and stuff.
Oh
So I
yeah,
happened to check like your options and stuff and I was looking at the colors and I was like God damn, I will definitely fall in love getting a custom guitar. I mean custom guitar. And then I saw
yeah.
that you do take um custom made pre-orders. So I'm also curious what have anybody made a custom pre-order?
I haven't had anybody place a totally custom order yet, but even like all of my regular designs, they're still totally customizable in the sense, I shouldn't say totally customizable. They're customizable in the sense I have a few predetermined pickup options, the pickups just being like the electronics. And then the colors, I think I have something like maybe 12 colors to choose from. And then anything outside of that, people can always, they can just make a custom order where they can choose like any color, any electronic. The only thing that I try to limit people on when they ask about custom orders is I'll have people ask about just like redesigning the body or adding an extra string. Like since everything's been really dialed in as far as the digital design, it would be really difficult to. I would basically have to like rebuild everything digitally and then all
From
the
scratch.
machining files. But that's why down the line I'll be offering some of these new features like a 7 string, a multi-scale. I've had a few people ask about lefties, like left-handed guitars and basses.
Mm,
And I definitely get there's an absolute need for that. So if somebody wanted to place a custom order for a lefty, I would do that in a heartbeat because I know it's kind of crazy that the world we live in has everything geared towards one hand. And so that's something I would like
mm.
to help with. It's almost like ableist to say, sorry, let's only make right-handed guitars. But um, yeah, I love
I can
custom
understand
designs.
that.
Yeah, I also like the fretboards. You can really put like any pattern on a fretboard. So, it can have anything from like custom initials and logos to like full patterns, like all the way across. You can do full patterns and you could choose like a custom color for that. I have all the know-how for like pigmenting epoxy to get it to be really any color. So
Mm,
yeah, I want people to feel
okay.
liberated enough to be able to call the shots with these designs. It's just sometimes it's out of my skill level.
Okay. And for and how you came up with the ideal set for your custom, like, well, for your standard colors.
Standard colors, part of it has just been my guilty bias of being like, ooh, I really love the color blue, or I've seen like a sparkle finish on a sports car, and I'm like, that would be really nice, and so I researched like that specific sparkle finish. Automotive finishes in general are just like top of the line. They have these really cool metal flakes where they change color depending on like the direction of light, like how the light hits it, which they're called like color shift or chameleon pigments. So I really love those. So I picked up a bunch of those for this business, and then other than that, yeah, just like your your classics like a dark gray or a black. Those never go out of style.
Mm.
Do you have a color that you would choose? Do you have something like a favorite color you would want?
So I always a sucker for red, but a
Yeah,
deep cherry red,
hell yeah,
uh, I can always fall in love with. But also at the same time, uh, I always like that fire effect when they have like the different
mm.
shades of the color of fire. I
Yeah.
always like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
the last one I mean you might have seen some videos of it, but the last prototype I built, it's like a gradient, so it goes from red to orange, like a hot orange to a
mm,
yellow. So that if that's kind of what you're talking about, like that fire effect of having that
mm,
gradient, I think a lot of people referenced it being similar to the Borderlands color scheme and type of
mm,
style.
I can see that. And I was also going to say the colors that I've seen on your website as well. It kind of give all this like galaxy effect.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I wanted this to
Uh,
all feel very like out of this world. So that I appreciate that.
hmm No
You're getting
problem.
it.
So, so I was already seeing. I was like, damn. I'm like, yo. First of all, I gotta give you credit. Like the design of the guitar. It does. I was reading your bio too. You was thrilled to make a whole modern day guitar because you feel like how should I put it? Be kind of stuck in the past when it comes to like upgrading our instruments. I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Uh, so and you also mentioned that fuck, I kind of forgot the point that I was bringing up. Um, damn, I forgot the point that I was bringing up.
It's all good. Those were good. I mean, those were good hot topics anyway. I think you hit it on the spot. Like, I really was trying to focus on a modern instruments. If you look like you've
Mm,
got the electric drum set and you've got these these synthetic sounds you can make with a like a pedal board. So it's like I think with music, we're already constantly trying to explore how we can integrate modern technology into music. It's just I think with like the shape of a guitar, that hasn't changed much, which part of that is
mm,
like they're classics. People love the nostalgia behind the instrument shape, and I get that. It's like you grew up watching your favorite musicians playing a Fender, a Scheckler, a Dean, and so you're like, oh, I need to buy blank because my hero played that for every time I saw them live. But it's kind of funny because the more that I've gotten into this business, the more that I've noticed like any somewhat popular artist, even like, your small kind of up and coming artists are sponsored. They're sponsored by any of these big brand guitar companies. And so just like how Nike will sponsor any athlete that they think is worthy, Fender and Gibson will sponsor any musician that they think is worthy, and they'll just send them free gear. And if they get big enough, they'll have them sign contracts where it's exclusivity. Like, you can't be seen on stage playing anything but a Gibson, for example. So all of these rock stars that are playing specific instruments, I know that these brands have been around for a long time and they've done wonders for the industry, but at the same time, they're kind of forcing what you see so that you're only seeing certain brands, and that all these boutique instrument makers like myself just are never going to be seen on stage with a major musician unless that musician wanted to say something like, well, fuck all the money that Fender's going to send me. I'd rather play a Ruinous, like that. That's a little rare. I hate to say it. It's just, um, I myself would probably take the money over a cool custom instrument, but
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to help work with any musician, even if they can't play it on stage, just to have, I don't know, something they could
Mm.
play at home and be like, all right, this is my secret guitar, and Fender doesn't have to know about it. But
So
but I
I'm
yeah.
glad that you brought that up because I was gonna ask, what's your ideals on like doing like custom made collab designs, like with like other sponsors.
I'm sorry, I feel like I missed the beginning. What's my ideal? What?
Like how do you feel about like collaborating with like other like brands
Ooh,
that come up with a collab design
that would be a lot of
guitar.
fun. Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I'm always open to collaboration. The design process for me has always been kind of solo when it comes to the guitar making, aside from just having musicians test them. But I would love to work with somebody else. I always, if I can, in any designs that I'm working on, I like to incorporate other people's ideas and feedback. Yeah, like I went to school for industrial design, so I've made like a lot of different stuff from like furniture and housewares to like filtration and aquaponics and hydroponic stuff for reptiles and fish. So I've made a lot of weird
Okay.
things over the years, and a lot of that has been collaborative work, just with other designers in the field or people that maybe had like a specific know-how. So for guitars, I feel the same way. I would definitely work with anybody that had familiarity in the background and wanted to collaborate.
Okay. I respect that. And do you have a ideal brand you would like to one day do like a collab design with?
Let me get back to you on that one. That's a new question for
Okay.
me. Yeah, but I like it. Yeah.
No problem.
Do you envision a
Um,
brand that you could see um, connecting?
Let me see. A brand. You know, I'm a sucker for gummy bears, so
Oh,
that
yeah,
would definitely be
like a
a dope
Haribo.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I've worked with resin for guitar bodies, so I could make one that looks essentially like it's made out of gummy. That'd be a lot of fun.
Hey,
Yeah. I'll hit up
hey,
Haribo.
hey,
Yeah.
and
Sour
actually
Patch
for
Kids.
you, I was seeing like Reese cups.
That's my favorite candy. So
Mm,
if you can get them to call me, I'm all ears.
mm. And I thought that would be a dope design,
Hell yeah.
like a chocolate orange cover. Yeah, yeah. And
Be
you
the
said you also designed some furniture and some fish tanks.
Yeah, I hate to say it, I've made maybe more stuff than I've bought at this point, but lots of things from like taxidermy mounts to custom ceramic like foodware and pots for plants and um, you know, coat hangers and my bed frame. What else? What else?
Okay.
Yeah, coffee tables and TV stands, and there's been there's been a lot over the years, but
So
um,
you're the handyman.
I guess so. Yeah, if you ask my wife, she'd say that.
Shout out to you and your
Shout
wife.
out. Yeah.
Um, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if the apocalypse ever happened, you definitely someone to call
Yeah, yeah. I think I've already got my sleeping spot situated, so
on.
we have.
I see
Yeah,
you in the woods.
yeah. It was. It's like one of
Uh,
the last nice days we got in Chicago.
mm. And when it comes, oh, so I know I was saying earlier,
Okay.
just admiring the design of the guitar and everything. I was like, damn, this is very unique. Now that I think about it, now I see the two R's, but I'm just really just lost in like the design of it because I never seen a guitar like that.
Hell
It
yeah.
kind of remind me of I'm not sure you ever play Sonic Riders.
I haven't, but I should definitely look it up. If you've got some correlation, I'm all for it. Sonic Rider.
So yeah, the way how they designed their skateboard on that game, it was just like really futuristic. And so when I was looking at it, I was like, damn, that kind of looked like some futuristic type guitar. So I was just really lost in the design, just seeing like I said, it's very unique. I never seen any guitar like that.
Thanks, man.
Uh,
Yeah, I do
definitely
get
catch
most of my inspiration from, I would say, like automotive design and just video games. You know, like I grew up playing Halo, and so all those old,
mm,
all those old alien technology games, like they definitely, I think,
okay.
trickled into my subconscious. So getting the idea for this looking like, like alien technology or even like weaponry was kind of in my
Okay.
mind. Then yeah, if Sonic Riders is them designing like futuristic skateboards. I mean, this was
Mm,
if it's like in that same field of automotive, it would make sense why it's got some correlation. Like sports cars and motorcycles are definitely something I look at for form. It's called like form language, or just the way that the form speaks to the viewer.
mm. You know, I'm curious too. Uh, who is your target audience?
Target audience. I mean, not that I want to pigeonhole my audience, but I really love the fast players, the technical players, the people that are able to really focus on like the precision and speed of their music. So with that, I wanted an instrument that felt like it could go really fast. So when you grab one of my instruments, you'll feel like it's very sleek, it's very angular, it's something that kind of like cuts right into where your hand needs to fit. And so it's not, I don't want to just say like it's for the metalheads and the shredders, but I definitely I definitely designed it with some heavy metal playing in the background while I was while I was thinking it up.
I mean, hey, um, like I said, I am ideal, so you're definitely looking for somebody to come up with some ideas to test out. Which I'm curious, when you coming up with your designs before you even, finishing the product, how do you go about seeing like the overview of it or
How do I go about seeing the overview of what?
of your guitar? Like when you coming up with the idea, do
Hmm.
you uh how can I put this? Like for example, do you preview it on your like laptop or something digitally
Yeah,
of the design first or
yeah. So, I mean, like I talked a little bit earlier, but I'll start with just like really rough shapes where I'll cut it out of wood and cardboard and just kind of like shave down certain areas and make it kind of come together little by little. And then once I have that pretty close, I get onto the computer, and it's essentially, you can think of digital design like a simulation, like VR, where as I'm building it, I can
okay.
see it in 3D, but it's not anything tangible. It's just on my screen in a software. And then once I've got that really close, then I'll cut one out using those robots, and then I'll put it all together and I'll feel it and just see like, does it work? Does it sound good? Does it feel good? And if the answer is kind of, then I go back and I edit that digital design, and I keep doing that pretty much over and over until I find one where I'm like, I like this a lot, and then I talk to local guitarists and have them play it. And once I've got enough of them experimenting with it, I get feedback on like, let's change this angle a little bit. Let's shave down that section a tiny bit, or like let's add a little more material here so it balances better on the strap or on your lap. So it's there's a lot of different directions with the design process, but those are kind of the main ones, if that helps.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm like what I'm hearing. And
Hell yeah.
hitting the halfway mark. How you feeling?
I'm good. We don't have a ton of sunlight left, so at a certain point, I'm gonna have to hit it. The last time I was in the woods past sundown, they ticketed my car. So I'm
Oh wow,
yeah, sorry. The winter
no
snuck up
problem.
real quick in Chicago, but I've still got some time. I've probably got like 10, 15 minutes left if that works for you.
Yeah, no problem. All right.
Very cool.
So, we have some collaborations on our end that, you might find good or whatnot, but I'll leave it up to you. Our first collaboration is shout out to One Nation. They create mangas, comic books.
Very cool.
Um, so if you looking to collaborate or network with an author within the manga or comic book field, we have somebody that we could recommend.
That would be a lot of fun.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely use some
okay,
cool graphic design.
okay.
Yeah, I would say shoot
We
me
have
their
another
info.
collaboration.
Yeah.
I got you. I want to send it all after this podcast.
Thanks,
Our
man. Yeah.
second collaboration is with no problem. This is what we do. Our second collaboration is shout out to Mason Needladder. He's a 2D animator. So I'm not sure if you're in need of somebody to do logos, animated music, well, animated videos, um, etc. If you in looks for somebody within the 2D animated field.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. I hate to say it. I'm up to my elbows in graphic designers just because of the field that I went to school in. So I might have some jealous friends if I went to an outside source. But thank you though. That's still pretty
Mm,
cool. If they turn me down, then by all means I'll reach out to you.
no problem. And our last collaboration, shout out to Jet Production. They do short action films. So not only does that, they looking to collaborate with other entrepreneurs creating like action commercial based around products as well.
Where are they located? What area?
I believe North Carolina.
North Carolina. Well, one of my best friends is from North Carolina, so maybe if I travel down there, I'll bring a Ruinous guitar and we'll go shoot some action footage.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, bet. So you're interested in the author and jet production.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to hear about all. Like, if you can send me links to all three, I would not mind
Okay.
reaching out, hearing what they like to do.
Okay. I will send you their information after this show.
Thank you.
Um,
Cool, cool, cool.
no problem. No problem. That's what we do. And like I said, this would be a free trial on the first one, but going forward, there will be a small fee, but we will give you the platform to promote yourself like you did just now, and even welcome you to promote your product. Use our platform in a way to reach your audience, etc.
Nice. Yeah, very cool.
And those that subscribe to the podcast $10 a month can create their own ad on this platform.
Nice.
Um, and then is there anything you would like, to put out there for anybody that's tuning in that would like to invest in your business?
Anything? Sorry, I got a plane overhead. Anything that you would like to put out there that?
Uh,
Can you repeat that?
for
My
anybody
apologies.
that, listening, would you like to promote or put anything out there for anybody that would like to invest in your business?
I'm definitely not looking for investors. Part of this has been like me really being able to
No,
control the.
I'm including people that like buying your product, doing it, whatever.
Um, yeah, I mean a link to the website would always be a good idea, but I luckily there's not too many other ruinous companies out there. Um, So that's the nice one. But yeah, link to the website
Mm-hmm.
would be great. Or just my socials. I think my socials are maybe more informative, honestly. Like they are me building hopefully a picture, a deeper picture of how the business goes, what the steps look like, what the product ends up being, and kind of gives people like a sneak peek into like all the little secrets of how I build my instruments instead of just like one crazy finished instrument with some pictures of it. Like there's more depth on like TikTok and Instagram and um, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And and when it comes to talents, who are you looking to network with or connect with?
I would really love to just meet more Chicago artists. My wife works at a local venue, music venue, as the audio engineer. So I meet plenty of
Mm,
musicians through her. But if you know any, or I should say, if anybody hearing this is a guitarist or bass player in Chicago that I would say has like speed and kind of precision as their playing focus, then they should hit me up. I would love to collaborate. I'm building a little recording space right now, and we're definitely looking for just more artists that can experiment with these new prototypes and then tell me what they think. And I mean, with that being said, I do offer discounts once I have people that have helped kind of build out the instrument and experiment with prototypes. So that's some incentive
okay.
too, is just them being able to not pay the full just over 3K for
Mm,
most of my average builds.
mm-hmm. No, that's understandable. Shout out to your product. Um, and before you go, I'd like to get
Yeah.
5 minutes of your time after this podcast. But we're gonna end it off with you shouting out all your platforms. Uh, and then direct them where you would like them to support you.
Very cool. Yeah, I've got Ruinous Guitars on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And then my website also Ruinous Guitars and the email as well. So I would say
No.
most places you look, it's and just because people don't know how the fuck to spell it, Ruinous is just like the word ruin, Ruin, and then just OUS. So ruin us. Yeah.
No. Shout out to that.
Shout
And where
out.
platform you prefer for them to reach out?
I would say for DMs, I definitely think Instagram is a little more frequently checked. TikTok, I just get a lot of weird spam, so it takes me a little longer to get through some of those messages. But I check both pretty often. I check both a few times a week. So whatever people prefer. Yeah, no harm, no foul.
No. Shout out to that.